Show me.
Hello everybody, Martial Arts Film Freak here, and I'm excited because we could potentially be getting another Green Hornet and Kato movie from the director of Invisible Man, Upgrade, Insidious Chapter 3, like the creator-writer of the Saw movies, someone who's mostly known for horror and gore, just grossness, is going to possibly make a serial kung fu movie. Now, first of all, the potential of that is just, like, wacko, but if you have seen Upgrade, then you know that Lee Winnell can definitely do some dope fight scenes, and it's not even really any actual martial arts in that movie. You know, there's a couple moves, I'm sure, but if you actually gave Lee Winnell, someone who can definitely do martial arts, with a good horror, gory background, and you gave him kung fu, I'm interested. I'm kind of seeing something almost like what's his name? Timo Chajanto with The Night Comes for Us and Headshot, but, not Silat. But if he's going to be our director, he's interested. He's shown interest in doing a Green Hornet movie. If he's going to be our director, that sounds good, but who's going to be our stars? Mostly just Green Hornet. I don't really care about who plays the other guy, who I don't even know the name of. That's the thing. Kato is so popular that I can't name who the Green Hornet is. Reed something. But I thought it would be fun to speculate, to throw out some names. Who could potentially be a fantastic Kato? Who could get everyone excited, get the imagination going wild a bit, and run down some names as fast as I can, but not make a super short video, just in enough time that I'm not sitting in this hot room sweating my balls off. It's already getting hot. I feel it, and I don't like it. Kato was originally played by Bruce Lee, made famous by Bruce Lee, was so popular that over in China and Hong Kong, mostly probably just Hong Kong, that Green Hornet was known as the Kato Show. And for good reason. He was super exciting. He was the reason you watch old clips, old episodes. I wish I could find a good box set, but I'm not really actually trying that hard. I remember seeing it at some conventions a couple years ago, and I should have bought it then. But I didn't have money. I was poor. I was broke. I was a child. I didn't have money. In the movie from a bunch of years ago, I don't know, 10, 20, not 20, 11 or maybe so years ago, along Seth Rogen, Jay Chow played Kato. And originally I was upset about that, but then I realized that he was the god of wushu, and I didn't care, and I thought it was actually pretty cool. But I want more. I want to know who else could play Kato. Who else? Let's list off some names. Let's get the imagination rolling. Who are a few actors that could play Kato? So here we go. Let's list off some people that could possibly play Kato. Number 7, Lewis Tan. First name that came to mind for this, and the reason I'm bringing him up now, Lewis Tan. The reason I'm bringing him up right now is he's kind of on my shit list right now. I love Lewis Tan. I think he's talented. I think he's a brilliant martial artist. I think he is a very charismatic actor. I genuinely do enjoy his character in Mortal Kombat, despite that movie being just the shits. I love Lewis Tan, I really do. He's extremely talented. I think he's extremely charismatic. Fistful of Vengeance really bummed me out. He really hyped that movie up as being something special, being revolutionary, and it ended up just being a big, steaming pile of... But, I mean, if he did play Kato, I wouldn't be upset. I really wouldn't. It'd be an interesting choice. I think he could do some really good stuff with it. I think he would be very charismatic in the role. I think he would make it all his own. I'm just, a little fed up with him right now. Number 6, Harry Shum. I don't know if I'm pronouncing Harry Shum's name right, but Harry Shum is interesting. Harry Shum could be a really interesting Kato. Harry Shum does actually not have a martial arts background. If you recognize Harry Shum, if you're me, you would recognize Harry Shum from Everything Everywhere All at Once, where he was the chef who had Rakakuni on top of his head. If you're anybody else, if you pay attention more to pop culture and TV shows and all that stuff, I'm already sweating, like I said, it's hot in here, then you maybe recognize him from Glee. He is a dancer, not a martial artist. Harry Shum, yes, he is a dancer. Apparently he was one of those dancing silhouettes in all those old iPod commercials. He then was like a backup dancer for like Beyonce and, I don't know, Jay-Z, not Jay-Z, sorry, I just said that because of Beyonce. Mariah Carey, what else did I read? Like Missy Elliott, Jennifer Lopez. Interesting stuff before he eventually got his role on Glee. Yes, he has been doing that ever since. He's been acting. He's been, dancing and acting in a whole bunch of different things. I think I saw he like choreographed some stuff for like Dancing with the Stars or something. I don't know. So You Think You Can Dance. I don't watch those shows. I'm sorry. But I think a dancer could make an interesting Kato for a good reason. Jason Scott Lee was a dancer. And when I say Jason Scott Lee, I'm pretty sure we all think of the exact same thing. Jungle Book, of course. Yes, we all love that 90s live-action Jungle Book. But of course, no, I'm just kidding. We actually think of Lilo and Stitch. He was a wonderful character in Lilo and Stitch. It's a wonderful, beautiful film. No, of course, I'm just kidding. I, of course, mean Balls of Fury. It's that hilarious Dan Fogler film in which he played a character in that. No, I'm kidding, of course. He was Bruce Lee in Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. And he got the role because he was a dancer, not because he was a martial artist. They felt that a dancer could best replicate the movement, the stylistic movement of Bruce Lee. And he did a good job. He did. He's very good in that. And so this is why I think that Harry Shum could make an interesting Kato. He seems very charismatic, very nice guy. I've seen a couple things with him. I think he would be an interesting Kato. I think he could do some really cool stuff. Now, this is, of course, who you would cast, I guess, if you wanted the most Bruce Lee-esque performance, physically. Physically, I think he's giving you the most Bruce Lee performance. If you don't want that, then maybe you go with someone else. But I think Harry Shum is an interesting option. Number 5, Andy Lee. Andy Lee is, of course, one of the key members in Martial Club. You would maybe most recognize him from, well, you wouldn't recognize him because he was wearing a mask. From Shang-Chi, he was Death Dealer. Very cool guy, very cool role. Sucks his character died so fast.
Surprise, then disappointment. Surprise, disappointment.
He was also, of course, one of the choreographers and had a few good fight scenes in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Has been doing a lot of things. Hopefully him and the Martial Club crew will continue to grow. Andy Lee, I think, would do a lot of cool stuff, making it all his own. He would do a lot of cool things with some good homages to Bruce Lee. Of course, take it back to the Fist of Fury short film that he did with Martial Club. It's fantastic. I think he would do a lot of really cool things while adding in those little tiny movements, those tiny bits of flair that say Bruce Lee. Andy Lee is a cool choice. I think that would be very fun. I would love to see Andy Lee play Kato. Number 4, Brian Lee. Again, of course, from Martial Club. Again, of course, one of the choreographers and had a few good fight scenes in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Has been doing a whole bunch of stunt stuff from Into the Badlands to Shang-Chi to other things. Here's the thing that makes me interested in this. I think if you switch up the role a little bit, Andy Lee's a big dude. He's definitely going to be bigger than the guy playing Green Hornet. You know, he's big boy. He's a big buff dude. And he can also do the splits and kick 1,000 times in the air and beat the shit out of you. So, I think Andy Lee, what you do with that is you don't make Kato the driver, the chauffeur, the assistant. You make Kato the bodyguard. Change it up just a little bit. Kato is now his bodyguard until he puts on the mask and, then it's Kato and the Green Hornet and all that stuff. I think that would be a really fun idea. Number 3, I think I'm on number 3, D.Y. Sao. D.Y. Sao is again from Martial Club. He's done a whole bunch of stuff with them. I think he's in a bunch of their short films. He helped do some of the choreography stuff on Shang-Chi, as well as Everything Everywhere All at Once, in which he has a very small role. Doesn't get a fight scene. He does get some fight scenes in a few other very small projects. He has an independent film with DMX before he passed away, in which he does have some good fight scenes. So he's got acting. He's got some acting. It's on his resume. I can't think of the word I'm thinking of. Whatever. D.Y. Sao, I think, would be cool. It's not one you're gonna think of. D.Y. Sao, a little bit under the radar. Maybe you thought of Andy Lee, maybe Brian Lee, but did you think of D.Y. Sao? Because D.Y. Sao is a dope martial artist, and I think he would make a very interesting Kato. Number 2, Max Huang. This one's interesting. This one I like a lot. This one I think could be really, really, really fun. Would be so cool. Max Huang, you may recognize most from his role as Kung Lao in Mortal Kombat. Now, unlike Louis Tan, he is not on my shit list because of Mortal Kombat because, I don't know, he had a few decent things before they killed him. Spoiler alert for Mortal Kombat. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm so upset. I know Kung Lao died in the game, but clearly he's one of the more interesting characters in the movie, and you just said, F it. But, yes, Max Huang was a member of Jackie Chan's stunt team just a handful of years ago. He's got some really cool short films on YouTube that I recommend you check out. He is an incredible martial artist. He is a really fun, charismatic actor. I think Max Huang would make a dope Kato. Every time Max Huang has appeared in something, he is a highlight. He was the highlight in Mortal Kombat, a highlight in Mortal Kombat. There are a few highlights in what turns out somehow to have a bunch of highlights and still be a totally trash film. But nonetheless, he was actually quite good in it. I think that if you made him Kato, much like pretty much everybody on this list would, he would steal the movie. I think not just in the fights and in the action. I think in terms of like charisma and acting, I think that I don't care who you cast as the Green Hornet. I don't care if you cast Chris Pratt. I think Max Huang might steal the movie from the actual Green Hornet, from in terms of acting and everything. Max Huang is that good, I guess. Before I get to my number one person who I'd like to see as Kato, I want to not do a honorable mentions. No, I want to list off some people who I don't want to be Kato. So here in the middle of this list is another list of 4 actors I don't want to see as Kato. Number 4, Joe Taslim. First of all, he just doesn't give me Kato vibes. I'm sorry. I love you, Joe. I genuinely do. You're one of the very best people working right now. I just don't see it as Kato. I also think Kato has to be quite young. I think I see him as a very young person, and maybe not everybody I've listed is the youngest person in the world. They're not all in their 20s. I don't know how old certain people are, but I don't know. He's like 50, He has a judo background, and while it is obvious from several films that Joe Taslim is capable of learning different martial arts for his roles, I just don't really see him doing kung fu and all that stuff. I suppose he does a little bit in Warrior, so I'm probably just way off there. I just don't see him as Kato, okay? I'm sorry. Number 3, Iko Uwais. Now, Iko Uwais, of course, he is not Kung Fu, he is Penchak Silat, and as much as, what was it called? Wu Assassins, you're not going to convince me that he's Chinese, as much as I feel like that show said he was Chinese. Yes, and so, Iko Uwais has just had a string of horrible luck in the U.S. between Wu Assassins, Fistful of Vengeance, Mile 2052, I don't remember, Mile 11, I don't remember what that movie was called, Snake Eyes, Star Wars. God, Star Wars was such a bad sign. Star Wars should have just told us from the get-go, look, Hollywood's not going to treat this guy with any respect whatsoever. It's just been on a really bad string of luck here with Hollywood films, and I just need Iko Uwais to go back to Indonesia for a little bit. Pull a Jackie Chan, pull a Bruce Lee, go back to, your original country, and blow up even more than you already did. Do some dope shit. Do some awesome stuff so that when Hollywood sees that, they're like, look, we can't deny this guy. Let's bring him back, have him do whatever he wants. Give this guy full reign to do anything. That's what Bruce Lee did. That's what Clint Eastwood did. That's what Jackie Chan did. Get on it, Iko. Go home and frickin' blow up the world again with an awesome movie, with several movies, so that Hollywood can call you back. Maybe if it takes Hollywood several years to make this movie, maybe then come back and then it's just the Kato show all over again. But again, I don't really see Iko Uwais as Kato. I just want him to go to Indonesia and make more incredible films so that Hollywood can just see him and be like, hey, we're sorry we treated you like shit. Come back and we'll let you do whatever you want. I went on this little rant here mid-video. This is like 3 videos in one. I'm sorry. Number 2, Ludi Lin. I liked him in the Power Rangers film a couple years ago. I genuinely really, really liked him in that. I think that whole cast was fantastic. I enjoyed him in Black Mirror. I thought he was fine as Liu Kang in Mortal Kombat. If anything, he was actually a little bit underwhelming in my possible opinion, I guess. I suppose Ludi Lin would not be a horrible Kato. Something about it, I don't see it. I'm not really feeling it. That's really just me, because there is a lot of potential for Ludi Lin to be a good Kato. Something in my brain, though, just ain't playing it. If he gets the role, he does something good with it, does some good fight scenes, has a good acting performance, then whatever, I'm totally wrong. Again, this is just kind of a vibe for me. He could actually do some really cool stuff with it, I'm just not feeling it. Number 1 on people I don't want to see play Kato, Simu Liu. Simu Liu is Shang-Chi. I think Shang-Chi is a character that's going to last for quite a while, quite a good handful of years. He is a mainstay. He is going to be a mainstay in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that's it. I don't want him to just be typecast as all these kung fu characters. Simu Liu is Shang-Chi. I don't need him to be Kato. Simu Liu is Shang-Chi, and that's all he should be. That's not any disrespect to Simu Liu. That's what I think is best possibly for him. I don't want him to be just a bunch of kung fu characters. I want him to be Shang-Chi, and that is it. He is great as the character. He is really, really good in the acting, the just all of it, the character-wise, the fight scenes, the choreography. He nails it. He nails every single aspect of that character, and I think that's all he needs to be doing. That being said, let's get to number 1 on who I think would make a fantastic Kato. Number 1, Mike Mo. Now, if you don't watch too many martial arts things, if you're not super into the martial arts cinema action world, then you are most familiar with Mike Mo as Bruce Lee in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood from Quentin Tarantino. I was first introduced to him as Ryu from Street Fighter Assassin's Fist. I think he owned that role. He was fantastic. I'm sure he is also very good as Bruce Lee in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Guess what? I haven't seen it, and I'm sorry. But here's the thing. It's not that I think he did good as Bruce Lee. That's why I want him to play Kato. I actually don't want him to be typecast as a Bruce Lee clone. But my thing is, that movie came out quite a few years ago, and it doesn't seem to have really done much for Mike Mo. He hasn't really blown up from it as much as I would like. So what we do is we give him the role of Kato, but he doesn't play Bruce Lee. He's not doing a Bruce Lee impersonation this time. He's just being Mike Mo. Heck no, he's not being just Mike Mo. He's being Kato, because he's an actor, and you don't just be yourself when you're acting, you play a character. So I think Mike Mo is such a good enough actor, is so charismatic, that he could play Kato all his own. Make it his own role. He's not being Bruce Lee's Kato. He's not being Jay Chou's Kato. He's being Mike Mo's version of Kato. This is not just in the acting performance, this is in the choreography, the martial arts, the fight scenes, in all. I think that Mike Mo could turn Kato into something new, something all his own. Again, just like with Andy Lee, with anybody on this list, just add in those little bits, those little sparks of flair, those little winks that say Bruce Lee. I think Mike Mo would be brilliant. I just want Mike Mo to be a megastar, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood doesn't seem to have done that. If anything, he probably actually got swept under the rug with all this. The way Tarantino treats Bruce Lee, could he beat this fictional character, all that stuff. Mike Mo just kind of gets pulled into all that stuff, when I think Mike Mo is a wonderful actor, an incredible martial artist, and if you gave him Kato, he would make Kato, in terms of character and fight scenes and action, all his own, all something new, and it would be incredible. But tell me what you think. Tell me what you think in the comment section down below. Who do you want to play Kato? Who in your opinion makes just obviously this person? Don't say Donnie Yen. Look, I know you're going to say Donnie Yen. Of course you're going to say Donnie Yen, but in my opinion, again, Kato needs to be a bit younger, and Donnie Yen is pushing freaking 60. The man is obviously in incredible shape. He's brilliant, but I don't need a 60-year-old Kato. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Head over to Facebook. There is the Martial Arts Film Freak Facebook page, Instagram, Martial Arts Film Freak, Tristan_Glover on the Twitter, and Martial Arts Film Freak on TikTok. Yes, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.